Good morning. Thanks for joining me this morning for this week's Energy Healing Live. My name is Anita Long, energy healer and teacher, and I'm glad you're with me this morning. So often I get asked the question, so what is Reiki? And I typically respond by giving kind of the definition of the word that, Reiki comes from the Japanese word that translates into Rei, which is a universal connection or a connection to God or source, and Ki, which is the Japanese form of Chi, which you've probably heard in Tai Chi and Qigong, and Chi or Ki is life force energy. So the word Reiki translates to spiritually guided life force energy. So I tell people that, and then they're like, well, what exactly does that mean? Which is a really great question. So I thought we would look into that this morning. So when we talk about this life force energy, basically what that is the force and the energy that animates all living things. So, if any of you have ever had the opportunity to be with someone, maybe a family member, as they are transitioning or, in the dying process, what you probably notice as the closer they get to the time of their passing, it's like their body is still here, but it's kind of like a shell. It's like you can tell when you get to that point where you're like, gosh, kind of the essence of who they are is no longer here. Um, and that was apparent. I've had two family members that I've had the privilege of being with when they crossed over, and that is what I observed. It's like their body became more and more like a shell, although the body was still breathing and still functioning, but it was like that life force, that essence. You could just see it leaving. So that's what we're talking about when we talk about Ki or Chi. It's the life force energy that animates us, that makes us alive. Another way to look at it is think about like a glove. So one of your gloves, it's just laying there on the counter, it's not doing anything, and then you put your hand in it, and suddenly it is animated. When you pull your hand back out, it's just the glove again. So that's another kind of analogy for what we're talking about when we talk about this life force energy. So Reiki energy is that life force energy, and it is spiritually guided and directed by source. So what do we need this energy for? So what happens in our physical, our spiritual, and our emotional bodies, this life force energy flows, and sometimes it can become blocked or become stagnant. And when that happens, what happens then to our bodies or our mind or our spirit is we get in a state of disease. So when you think about the word disease, it's literally dis-ease or a lack of ease. So there's a lack of ease of this life force energy flowing. So what Reiki does is help break those blockages open. So where do these blockages come from? In the physical body, these blockages come from basically one thing is just living in a toxic world, right? The world we live in is toxic to our bodies just because that's the way it is. We have, some foods we take in may not be of the highest value, can have some toxicity, depending on our food choices or the choice of what we drink. Even medications that we take that help us have some toxic elements to them as well. All the toxins that come from using all of our devices, right? So all of these things are basically a toxic environment for our bodies. So just living in the world, we're bound to have some blockages in that energy. Spiritually, where these blockages can occur is from just not remembering or not always being aware of our connection to source or God. Sometimes we forget that that we are connected to God and we have a lot of help on the other side. We have God, we have angels, we have guides, we have loved ones who have passed on that are always here with us and helping with us, but we don't always remember that. We live in a culture where we tend to feel like we have to do everything for ourselves, right? We have to just pull ourselves up by our bootstraps and buck up and do it. So that can leave us feeling sometimes really lonely and really disconnected. And that feeds in also to the emotional and, just feeling that we're alone, or even if you had any emotional hurts or traumas, whether you're aware of them or not, perhaps you remember some things that happened maybe when you were a child where someone, spoke to you in a way that was hurtful or treated you in a way that was hurtful, or there can be memories that you're not even aware of in your conscious. So those all can create blockages. So what Reiki energy does is go through the body and it clears those blockages out. So how does this work? How does this work with a Reiki practitioner? So as Reiki practitioners go through their training, um, we learn symbols. And when we're getting ready to start a session, we draw these symbols either in the air or in our mind. And those symbols are what connects us to the life force energy and allows it to flow through us. Also, through our training, we receive what are called attunements. Attunements are passed on from Reiki master teachers to their students, and an attunement basically allows the practitioner to be connected to the energy. It gives them that permission to be connected. So we draw the symbol on our mind, we connect to the energy, and then the energy comes out of our hands. Basically, I can feel it. It kind of comes out the palm of my hand, and to me, it just feels like I have it on right now, and I feel, a stream of energy just coming out of my hands. What we do then is we place our hands on the client's body, and by the client even requesting a Reiki session, they have already sent the intention that they would like to receive healing. So the process starts as soon as someone says, yes, I would like to go have Reiki healing. The process has already started. That intention is already set. So we use hand placements on the client's body for the Reiki session to most easily enter their body, for the Reiki energy to most easily enter their body. The Reiki practitioner does not direct this energy. We don't choose what's going to be healed. You may come in for a session and say, yeah, I've been having, really bad headaches. And, it's not like we say, okay, we're just healing headaches today. The Reiki energy, since it comes from God in universal wisdom, it comes from all wisdom. So the energy knows what is needed in the body for healing, what best will help the individual on that particular day. So we're just a conduit. It's like we're just the plumbing where the energy just comes through and goes into the body. And then the energy goes where it needs to go for your best healing. Reiki, since it comes from source, it comes from God, it can never be harmful. It can never do harm. It can only do good. Reiki practitioners, we need to have your permission basically in order to send Reiki your way. It's not like we can see someone walking down the street and think, oh, they look kind of ill today. I think I'll, shoot some Reiki their way. We have to have your permission. We have to ask permission. Sometimes I will send Reiki energy. I usually turn it on in the morning and I just send it out to whoever might need it, or to the universal, just to the collective conscious. Certainly our world needs a lot of healing right now. So I usually turn some on in the morning and just send it out. If it would go towards someone that was not wanting to receive it, basically the energy would just go into the earth. Or to the collective consciousness. So, it's not like someone can give you Reiki without your permission. So it's never harmful. Reiki is really helpful working in congruence with other medical treatments. If you have a medical treatment or a medical condition that you are being treated for, whether it's a chronic condition, an autoimmune disease, cancer, you're recovering from surgery, the Reiki energy works in conjunction with whatever medical treatment you're getting. It can help you with relaxation so that your healing occurs more quickly and more fully. It can just kind of amp up the effects of the medication, make your healing happen a little more quickly, or reduce your pain. So it's not an either or type of thing. Reiki energy works in conjunction with everything else we have going on in our bodies. Also, it really helps with creating a positive outcome, and optimism for a positive outcome. Those of you who have chronic illnesses, I know from experience, from suffering myself from a chronic condition that I am now healing from, sometimes you feel really discouraged and like, how long is this going to last? Am I ever going to get better? So the Reiki can really help just with your positive outlook. Also for a stress and anxiety, which all of us are feeling right now, like I said earlier, it just helps us connect to that universal source, helps us connect to God, and helps us realize that we're not alone here. Um, we have all the help in the universe at our beck and call, and all we have to do is call on that energy. So I hope this has helped you. If you have any more questions about Reiki, feel free to put something in the comments. I can't see them right now, but I definitely will respond in the comments. Or you can send me an email, anita@cultivateyourhealing.com. Just a reminder that this is the last week for my opening special for Cultivate Healing. So if you book either an online or virtual distance healing session, by the end of this week, you get $30 off. So instead of $100 for a session, it would be $70. So you just want to book that by the end of the week. So as I said, I've had Reiki turned on during this, sending each of you who are watching this some healing and some love, and sending you peace and joy for your day. Thank you again for joining. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.